Hey everyone, it's Amy Astro here and welcome back to my channel. This week we have a brand new video in store for you, and I thought it was time that I showed you an update of what the Raven scope is looking like today. After everyone's comments that you gave me, I have a whole new setup and I wanted to show you what it looks like and the pros and the cons and all of that good stuff. But I also have a public service announcement for you. Yes, I do. I did something and I don't want you guys to do it. So stay tuned and find out what I just did. Oh, heaven help us all. Folks, so here is the updated Raven scope with all of y'all's suggestions. The one that I went with this time was with the Williams Optic handlebar that has the dovetail in it, and I have my guide scope mounted up on the top. Now, as you can see, this is a pretty balanced unit here. You know, if I show you down here on this side, make sure I don't. If I show you down here on this side, you can see everything is all nice straight line. There's not one side that's more heavy than the other side. And I was able to take this out once like this. And it balanced very, very easy. Guiding was really good too. There was no extra strain going on. But the actual center here, let's see, is it on this side? I have a mark on the lower bar that is halfway, it's right in the center of that bar, and this is where my center mass is of this unit. You know, and what I did is I held it on the edge of a tabletop very carefully, and I just kind of wobbled it back and forth to see where balance was going to be, and I kind of shifted things until I got it in the center of the bar. That just made it easier when I put it up on the mount itself. But what I learned after the first night of using this is when I went to pick this up, my arm, let's spin this around here. If you can see here, my arm hit up against the guide camera and the guide scope. Now, I worked really hard to tighten this guide scope up. Some folks were telling me theirs works great. Just tighten it up some, and I did that. But the first time out, I loosened all of this up by hitting it with my arm, and it just wasn't a good grip. Now, granted, I do need to probably lift some weights and all that, but this is not really going to work for me for carrying. Ultimately, what I had to do that night was pick it up very carefully and cradle it like a baby. But you know, holding it this way and then trying to tighten down the screws on the mount, it was very difficult for me. So I don't think I'm going to keep it this way. What I did is I went down to the next suggestion, and somebody sent me some links, which was great over there on Amazon, to explain their idea to me. Now, what they suggested here was I add a couple brackets off to the side, and quite a few of you guys did suggest this, was a bracket off of here and have another plate coming off. And what I've got is I purchased these off of Amazon. They were just a couple dollars each, very lightweight. They're aluminum, pre-drilled. I believe they're about 135 degrees, but it's going to work perfectly if I insert it between the handle and the rings. And I just need a little bit longer screw, but I'll mount them off here like this. And then I've got this sheet of aluminum here. It's 1/8 inch thick, 12 inches long, and I'll have to cut this, and that's where I have to go see my father and get his help. But I'll mount these on here and probably pre-drill a couple extra holes. And see, it's going to mount in here like this, and it's going to sit really flush to the scope. And what I can put on here would be the computer and the power box. Now, I realized that the computer and the power box aren't as heavy as the guide scope, but I think it might be just enough to maintain some kind of balance. And what I've got here on the Nightcrawler is I do have a dovetail. Now I'll rotate this down just a little bit to get some clearance, and I'll have to rework where I've got the dovetail here, but I'll mount the guide scope on one side, and then I'll mount this plate on the other side. Let's see if I can get it to balance here. I'll give you an idea. All right. You getting an idea here of what we're going to do? And then we'll mount this on here, just like that. All right, so that's where I'm going to go next, and I'm going to leave this William Optics dovetail handle up here, you know, one, because it's a really nice handle, and I'll put the smaller dovetail block that I've got on the end of it, just like I had previously, and it will hold my tail rad for the days when I need to use it. And, you know, I take the tail rad off when I'm not using it, and it just adds, you know, it's kind of like a sight on a gun, you know, so I can line Polaris up in it, and it's just a happy coincidence that always worked great for me. So that's where I'm heading with the Raven. You know, it's a work in progress. If you guys have any other ideas, please leave in the comments below. I love reading them. I love thinking about them and daydreaming, and of course, I love shopping for new things. But that's what I'm going to try this time. And when I remove these items from down low, I'm going to end up taking one of these spacers out and having the whole scope sit lower on the bracket. Now the only thing that's going to be my limiting factor here is the width of the Nightcrawler. So it's going to have some kind of spacer between it and the bottom rail, but that shouldn't be too bad. And the bonus is having the computer up here is my antenna will be up, because I did notice the one time out having the antenna down here that when the scope was pointing away from the house and in the far part of the yard, I did lose connectivity. So that was a minor issue where when I had it on the top, I didn't have that problem. So that's what I'm going to work. But I want to show you guys something really, really cool. All right, now let me say, this was not my idea, but I have a friend named Norm, pretty clever guy, and he has the same telescope with me. Matter of fact, I think he has my old telescope. And one thing that always bothered us with the Explorer Scientific is when the dew shield is extended, you can't reach the lens cap. I mean, it's just deep in there. You can't get your fingers around it to pull it out. So you have to have your dew shield all the way in. Well, what happens when this is as far as my dew shield comes in because of how I've got it set up? Well, it makes it kind of difficult. What I had done is, you know those 3M hooks, the ones you hang your wreaths with out on your door, and they're removable? I just used one of those and I just grabbed it by the hook. But Norm, up on his styles, and he had a better idea. So I want you to check out this. Let's see if I can get it up. Here. All right, can you see something in there? I'm going to pull it out. There we go. I'll set this down. I'm going to show it to you. There we go. All right, folks. You see that circle? Pop sockets are not just for kids. They make great handles to get your lens cap off. So even if you didn't have this trouble, I mean, that's pretty cool. Because I've got right now, it is an astronaut with a balloon in the shape of a moon. It's kind of cool. But it pops down, it pops up, and it's on there with like a sticky suction, I don't know what it is. But if it holds your phones up, it's definitely going to hold this up. But it's just really cool because I can pop it down, pop it right up, and grab it, put it on, no problem at all. No fighting with my fingers. So that's just something really cool, and I wanted to show you guys that. And thank you, Norm, for telling me about that. Pop sockets. Who would have guessed that they had another purpose? All right. All right, folks. So now for your public safety announcement here and what not to do, okay? I repeat, this is what not to do. So let me give you a little bit of background here, okay? So a few weeks ago, I ordered a second Pegasus Astro Ultimate Power Box, okay? Now, it arrived really quick. I was very happy. And since this is my second one, I knew what to do. So I thought. I mounted it up. Everything looked great. I zip tied all the cables and I plugged in the power and nothing. It didn't power up. And I was like, well, this makes no sense. You know, I'm checking the computer just to make sure. I just didn't see the little red light on it or something. Nope, no signal, no nothing. No power. So that leaves me scratching my head. What can it be? Well, you know, smart me. Maybe not so smart. I have a second one. My original one works just fine. In fact, it is attached to the Star Maiden scope. Now, the Star Maiden scope, as you know, is all put together and beautiful. All the cables are organized. Everything's zip-tied the way it needs to be. So, my original thought was, well, take the power cord from the one that works and plug it into the one that doesn't work and just see if it's the power cord that's causing me problems. You know, process elimination. Is it the power cord or is it the unit? Okay? Well, I didn't feel like cutting zip ties. I didn't feel like holding up the Star Maiden to the other one because my cable was only this long to plug it in to see if it worked. And maybe I should have done that. Instead, in all my wisdom, oh, heaven help the world that I've been unleashed on it, I took the power cord from the brand new one and plugged it into my working Pegasus Ultimate Power Box. And you know what happened? Bam! Flash, smell, oh my God, I let the smoke out of the box. What is the #1 rule with electronics? Don't let the smoke out of the box, okay? Just don't do it. So now I'm like, not. I quickly unplug it. I plug in the original power and I plug it in, it's dead. Dead, dead, dead. In fact, the kids came from their room and said, Mom, what stinks in here? And I was like, well, it ain't my cooking. But yeah, I let the smoke out of the box. So what do? Well, first I reached out to the vendor and well, it was after hours. So I wrote this long sob story about what I did. It's my fault, I did it. And I don't know what to do. And after hours, so they're not gonna listen to, you know, reply back until the next day. It's a given. So I reached out to Pegasus and it is after hours. It's very late over there in Europe. And lucky me, they get on the line and they start writing me back. And they go, well, did you know this? And I was like, maybe I should have known that. Let me show you something. Did you know that this power cord, if you release the tip of it, and I'm gonna unscrew it right now and show you. All right, be very careful not to lose all the bits and pieces. But there is a fuse, a little glass tube fuse on the inside. And when you insert it into power, it depresses, makes contact, and you got power flowing through everything. Well, the fuse on the brand new one came in shattered. I mean, all kinds of pieces, and I had fun trying to clean it out. Well, that was my problem. No big deal. I go to an automotive store, pick up some brand new fuses here. Got one of the brand new fuse right here. This is a 10 amp glass tube fuse. It cost me like $1.94 for 6 of them. They're super cheap. No big deal. And I swap it out and I said, okay, well maybe that's it. Oh, please let that be it. And I plug it in. Nope. Once the smoke's out of the box, the smoke is out of the box. You can't put it back in no matter how hard you try, okay? So I'm talking with Pegasus. I was like, yes, the glass tube was shattered. I replaced it. Still didn't work. They said, okay, open up the box. So I take the front screws off and I slide the circuit board out and I look at it and I send him a whole bunch of pictures, front, back, side, flip, flop, all over. And I sent it to him. And he looked at him and he says, oh, well, we made a slight design change. If you remove this one diode right here, then it should work. No promises, but I think that'll fix it. Well, me and a solder gun on a circuit board, not smart. And plus, I am now gun shy. Totally gun shy on all of this. So I take it down to the local gadget store, you know, the ones that fix your phones for you when you crack your screen. They guarantee they can fix anything. Well, for $10, they removed the diode, wiped it clean from the board. It was a beautiful job, it really was. I was all excited. I reach out to Pegasus, I sent them a picture. I was like, all right, can I put power to it now? And they're like, yes. I plug it all in. Nope, still dead, still dead. So my only option now is to mail the circuit board back to Pegasus. So that is where I'm at right now. Pegasus is telling me that they will do their ultimate best to repair the circuit board for me. I don't know what it's going to cost me. I don't know how long it's going to take. It took almost a week to get from here to New York, where I actually shipped it off to. I was really surprised I didn't send it over to Greece, but maybe New York is a stopping place before it goes to Greece. I really don't know. But I'm waiting to hear back from them, and I'm hoping that they give me some good news. But in reality, this was my fault, okay? Yes, the fuse was broken in the power adapter when I received it. But as a safety checkup for any of our things, we should always check our cords, make sure nothing's frayed, make sure there's nothing wet before we plug it in. There's a few things that we should go through as a checklist for safety to make sure we don't do them and make sure everything's safe. Well, I should have realized that there was a fuse in that adapter, and then I should have opened it, checked it. If I had done that, I wouldn't have any of this heartache that I have right now. Self-inflicted heartache, thought I knew more than I did. You know, it happens. But I just wanted you guys to know what not to do. And as an added check in your lineup before you plug everything in, take a look at that plug adapter. You know, it doesn't take but a minute to unscrew it, check it, make sure the fuse is still solid, and then reinsert it. Because you know what? These things get banged around a lot in our gear. We don't think about them. I mean, for all I know, I could have slammed it in the door. You know, you just don't know, but you have to be careful. And this would have taken me 1 minute at the most. If I had checked this before I plugged it in, I could have saved some heartache. All right? So don't be like Amy, okay? Don't do it. Well, guys, I hope you liked that video. I hope you learned something right there along with me of what not to do. How do you think that the Raven scope is looking? Do you like the idea of me adding those aluminum brackets and mounting my computer and the power box over there? Or should I do something else? I mean, right now it is perfectly balanced. It guided like a dream being that balanced. I mean, I was really surprised that it made that much of a difference, but it did. So I do advise, if you can balance things out, by all means. But now I'm going to send it into the unbalanced mode again just a little bit and see if I can get a happy medium of good guiding along with a safe handle for me to lift it with. Because lifting it, you know, like you're cradling a baby and trying to get it onto the mount and tighten those knobs down is a little bit difficult. So that's what I've got for you guys today. If you all like this type of video, please consider subscribing below. Don't forget to hit the like button and share this video with all of your Astro friends. We are closing in on 2,500 subscribers, which is just huge, huge, guys. I mean, consider that I only started this a year ago in a few weeks. So huge. And that's because of you guys being faithful and loyal watchers of my channel. And I appreciate every single one of you. If you guys have some ideas for some future videos, consider leaving them in the comments below, or follow me over there on Facebook as Amy Astro. Send me a private message, or you can even find me on the internet as amyastro.com. I have a contact button up there. Leave your comments, questions there. Nobody else sees them but me, and I will reply to you as soon as humanly possible. And if your request is something that I could do a video on, I will absolutely do that for you and get it up there online for you all to see. But that's it. Thank you, everybody. And until next week, I am hoping that you guys have some great health, clear skies, and I will see you all in the next video. Love you guys. Goodbye.